5 professional divers from LMCS Diving in Pointe-à-Pierre, Trinidad and Tobago, faced an unexpected tragedy while performing maintenance on an unused U-shaped pipeline for Paria Fuel, a government-owned oil company. On February 25, 2022, what began as a routine task quickly turned into a horrifying ordeal. The men, Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, Fyzal Kurban, Rishi Nagassar, and Chris Boudram, were sucked into the pipeline in a powerful underwater current, accompanied by a chaotic whirl of water, tools, and darkness. Amidst this chaos, a GoPro camera attached to one diver's suit recorded the harrowing events. Tragically, only one of the divers survived to recount the ordeal. This incident, known as the Paria diving disaster, revealed the frightening and unexpected dangers faced by professional divers in their line of work. The Paria diving disaster involved a complex operation where 5 divers from LMCS Diving were assigned to repair a section of a pipeline for Paria Fuel in Trinidad and Tobago. To access the repair site, they used a special habitat bell, an 8 foot cubi, to create a dry work area by displacing water from the top of the pipe. Inside this hyperbaric chamber, the divers could safely remove their gear and use tools for complex repairs. Their task included removing an inflatable plug at berth 6, installed 2 weeks earlier to seal the pipe and prevent hydrocarbons from escaping. This plug formed an airtight barrier holding against the pressure from the habitat chamber. As Kazim Ali and his team began to loosen the valve on the plug, a catastrophic failure occurred. The opening of the valve unleashed a powerful surge of water into the habitat, dragging the men and their equipment into a tumultuous underwater current inside the pipeline. Miraculously, they found themselves in an air pocket, enabling them to breathe. The GoPro camera recorded the moments before this terrifying incident and captured the darkness and confusion inside the pipe, including the shouts of the men trapped within. This air pocket, ironically, was also the reason for the swirling water tornado that ensnared them. The recording highlights the sheer unexpectedness and horror of the situation. The Paria diving disaster unfolded when 5 divers were tasked with removing an inflatable plug from a pipeline, unknowingly under dangerous conditions. The plug was initially believed to be holding back 1,200 barrels of oil, separated from the surrounding air and ocean water. Under normal circumstances, this would have been a routine operation, with the air pressure in the habitat pressing down on a stable column of oil between berth 5 and 6. However, unbeknownst to the divers, there was actually a column of air, not oil, under the plug and significantly less oil in the pipeline. When they deflated the plug, the high-pressure air from the habitat chamber rushed into the pipe with immense force, dragging the men, their tools, and scuba tanks into the 30-inch diameter pipeline. Simultaneously, ocean water violently surged in, creating a chaotic whirlpool. Chris Boudram, the sole survivor, recounted the terrifying experience of being sucked into the pipeline at high speed, struggling to breathe, and being overwhelmed by the darkness, burning sensations in the eyes, and physical pain. The men eventually found themselves in a pocket of air within the pipeline. They were disoriented, unable to gauge their location or how far they had been dragged through the 1,200-foot-long pipeline. Amidst their shock, they tried to locate each other and assess their condition. In the aftermath of being swept into the pipeline, the 5 divers, Chris Boudram, Kazim Ali, Yusuf, Fyzal, and Rishi, found themselves in a precarious situation. Despite being injured and disoriented, they were determined to escape. The pipeline was coated in thick, slippery oil sludge, making movement difficult and exhausting. To make matters worse, they were in complete darkness, with oil in their eyes and nostrils, some suffering from broken bones and battered organs. As they shuffled together towards what they hoped was an exit, they faced a rising seawater level, which further complicated their escape. With the space shrinking and some divers seriously injured, Chris and Kazim decided to search for another air pocket and potential exit. They found a second air pocket and 2 scuba tanks, which offered a glimmer of hope. Kazim's worsening injuries slowed them down. Eventually, they resolved that Chris should use the remaining oxygen to attempt an escape and get help. Pushing the tank in front of him, Chris navigated the narrow pipeline towards the riser end, faced with the uncertainty of whether he was heading towards berth 5 or berth 6, each with its own set of risks. His daunting journey was marked by both physical and mental challenges as he fought for survival and to get help for his trapped colleagues. The Paria diving disaster reached its critical moment when Chris Boudram, after over 2 hours trapped in the pipeline, managed to surface at berth 6. He had faced the dire risk of encountering an inflated plug with no air left in his tank. Fortunately, he emerged at the correct location and attracted the attention of the search team. Exhausted and overwhelmed, Chris was rescued and informed the team that the other divers were alive in air pockets within the pipe. The LMCS team, until then, had assumed the worst, believing the pipeline to be full of oil and the divers likely to have drowned. The revelation that they were alive, albeit injured and trapped, sparked a glimmer of hope. The rescue team tapped on the pipeline and received responses, indicating the trapped men were still alive. This must have been a moment of immense relief for the trapped divers, knowing that help was aware of their predicament. However, the expected rescue did not materialize. The divers waited for hours, but no rescue attempt was made. They struggled with injuries and the increasingly toxic air, rich in carbon dioxide and oil fumes. The non-rescue situation remains a subject of debate and controversy. Different parties, including Paria Fuel, LMCS, the Coast Guard, and the divers' families, have varying accounts of why a rescue was not attempted. Some argued that further rescue attempts were too risky, while others believed the trapped men were already deceased. The sad reality is that the men were close to salvation, yet no one came. Autopsies showed that the divers lived for varying lengths of time after Chris's rescue, with some surviving until Monday. The exact causes of their deaths, whether due to injuries, lack of breathable air, or drowning while trying to escape, are unclear. A commission of inquiry was formed in Trinidad and Tobago to investigate the incident, with findings expected in August 2023. This tragedy highlights the risks faced by divers and the critical need for effective emergency response protocols in such high-risk industries. If you're moved by their story, please consider subscribing to our channel for more insightful content. Don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Together, we can honor their legacy and spread awareness about the importance of safety in such challenging environments.